welcome to the Blood and Pigment podcast. My name is Garrett Swader, and I'm here with Joseph,
Hello.
Dan,
Yar.
and special guest Ryan Peterson.
Hey there.
In this episode, Joseph's going to kind of do a little interview with Ryan so you can get to know him a little bit better. We're going to go through our normal stuff of kind of what's been going on with us hobby-wise and game-wise. And then in this episode, we're going to be doing a English Nation overview. So all about the English Nation and how they sort of play in Blood and Plunder.
We're excited to have Ryan on. He is one of our Patreon backers, and we appreciate all of those backers who help us make content for the community. So thanks for coming on, Ryan, and thanks for being one of our supporters.
Thanks a lot for having me.
I appreciate you've been around the Blood and Plunder world for quite a long time, if I recall correctly. Do you want to tell us a little bit how you got into the game and kind of your Blood and Plunder career thus far? I've noticed you were around for a while because I have a lot of folders in my Google Drive that have your name on them, which is
right.
Probably should creep you out a little bit.
Yeah, or you're just trying to build a case against me. So, yeah. No, and I wasn't from the beginning of Blood and Plunder. I do remember that original Kickstarter coming out, and I was like, oh, that looks pretty fun. And I don't remember why I didn't do it, but it was it was something that's like, oh yeah, maybe I'll come back to that later. And but like a lot of people, when COVID struck and people had a bunch of extra time on their hands, I made an order and bought a ship and some minis, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna paint something different other than what I normally paint and kind of have some fun with it. And then I got COVID before there was a vaccine and all that, and I sat down and painted for about a week and a half and pretty much finished a light frigate and I think 10 or 12 militia or something along that line, and then been painting them ever since. So I didn't really get a game in, of course, because you couldn't go and share any time with anybody face to face for a while. But so I painted stuff for about a year before I got my first game in. So 2021, 2022 is when I really got much more into it. And then, of course, the second Kickstarter went off with the plastics and everything. And then I've got more Blood and Plunder miniatures and I know what to do with now.
So have you did you come at it mostly from a painting perspective? I'm assuming you've had a previous career as a longer career as a gamer and painter. Your paint work has always been really impressive and beautiful and well presented.
Oh, but yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really get into 40K like a lot of people did, but not initially. I was painting since I was in like high school and stuff. I got interested into BattleTech, was the original game that got me interested in miniatures and painting and all that. And then there were some various like sci-fi D&D style things from here and there to kind of get into, but that was kind of the mainstay for a while. And then I think it was 8th edition when 40K came out, and I got into different models and different painting styles. And I enjoy painting. It's therapeutic. It's something I find calming, and of course there's that satisfaction when you're done with something and it feels like, yeah, I did that. It looks really good. So that was something just it was a different genre of miniatures. They're not all robots, or they're not all like aliens and stuff like that. It's just like, oh, some historical stuff, but also like you get a lot of freedom with it because everybody wore different stuff back then, and there was no paint standard. There wasn't a lot of uniforms, and that was something with historical that always kind of put me off. It's like, I don't want to paint red, white, and blue uniforms 100 times over and all that.
British
so
regulars.
I kind of avoided it, but
8mm.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to paint 1,000. I don't want to paint 12. And I play British. I don't want to paint 12 of them. So, yeah. So that was part of the allure, was something different, but also I was like, I can kind of turn something like that out pretty quick. And it was about the time that like contrast paints were coming out too, and I was like, I could probably get these done a lot quicker. And in my head it made sense. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have a bunch of these done real quick. And you never paint as fast as you'd like to, but that was part of the justification. But also the big thing is, like, you see a game with ships on the table, and this is true pretty much any time I've gone and seen Blood and Plunder played anywhere. When there's ships on the table, there are other people looking at what's going on, whether they're playing a game or whether they're just wandering around at a convention or a game store. There people will go and check out, what are these big cool ships doing. It's a draw in. It really is. It's just very unique in a sea of games and miniatures and things that they just, there's not a lot of that. So that was really cool to kind of say, hey, yeah, I got this big thing that I can paint, and you get to paint with a bigger brush, and it's harder to make little tiny small detail mistakes because you can just like, no, that's part of the wood, or that's battle damage, or that's just wear and tear. But that was kind of a different, it was just so different from a lot of other stuff that I'd done. So that was really what drew me into Blood and Plunder. And then as I watched, how to play videos and the rules and all that, I was like, that's pretty straightforward. So it got me pretty interested. And then of course I got a few folks at my local game store that wanted to play too. So it all kind of fell together at about the same time.
And you live southeast United States, Georgia area? That's
Yeah. Just a little bit south of downtown Atlanta. I'm just not too far from the airport.
nice.
So
Well, I've always appreciated you've participated in the Great Pirate Paint Off a couple times at least, right? The painting contest we've run.
yeah, I don't think I've done all of them, but I've done as many as I could, and I've been pretty consistent in the last, I think, 4 years. So, but yeah, it's always, especially with the plastics, once those came out, I was like, oh, these really motivate me to paint a few things, and I think I painted like 30 miniatures for that 1 year that first came out. So yeah, it was it was good motivation and a lot of effort on y'all's part to motivate a bunch of other people to paint stuff they probably wouldn't have done right away or put off for too long. So yeah, I was one of those people that got a fire lit under me to turn some models
Yeah,
out.
and you've always placed pretty high in people's choice and judging and stuff. I know I've sent more than one box to you. I feel like I have, maybe not, with your name on it.
Yeah, I mean, for a while, I was like, man, I kind of feel like I just need to not because I'm like, oh, I'm not a guarantee, guaranteed to always play, but I was just, I really enjoyed painting them. And then when you're like kind of motivated to do your best, I was like, all right, let me take a few of these ones and really, really spend a lot of time on them. And then, but now, I mean, man, there's so many good painters painting
Yeah,
these models and ships and everything. It looks, I mean, it is, I'm not going to, this is no discredit to anybody that entered back in the day or anything like that. But like, just, it seems like the participation as well as the talent has really just shot up a lot, and it's awesome to see all these really great painters and really great paint jobs out there now. It's inspiring. So it's great to see that the game's really getting more attention, and a lot of folks that really want to take the time to take and really have those new, especially the new detailed models, give them their full due diligence and make them look as good as they do with all the detail they have now.
I'm glad you said that because I felt like that too. But sometimes I'm too close to know if I'm reading it accurately. But it felt like this year was a good step up in quality for the painting contest. So I was encouraged.
Absolutely. Yeah, I saw a lot of stuff where I was like, "Oh man, that's a clear-cut, contender for, top finishing and stuff." And um, you know, it's kind of, you can kind of start to get a feel for
Yeah.
when the entries start flowing in. It's like, "Oh, yep, that one's going to be in the
Yeah.
top, picks for the voting." Yeah. Yeah. So,
And
especially, I mean, even with, hundreds of entries and stuff, I mean, I'm not envious of y'all's job of having to cut the list down, but uh, you know, I was pretty much right on a lot of them when I was like, "Yep, this is going to be a top
Yeah,
three."
Joseph asked me to be a judge on a few categories, and it was really tough to find like eight or narrow it down to eight, and then also rank the eight. It was really hard to just
yeah.
rank them and be like, oh, this one is really eight, but I can't put this one lower than it. It was really tough.
Yeah, it's difficult
Hmm.
sometimes when you're judging someone's artwork, and of course also like, you think they might have, like, oh man, if this photograph was a little bit better, or if it was a little bit
Yes.
close up, or if it was a little bit more in focus, sometimes you feel like, oh man, I know there's more there, but I can't see it. So it kind of, and that's a hard part about miniatures, like, photography, or, entering a contest or anything like that, is that it's not just the paint job, it's the photograph, and that can foil your efforts, unfortunately, a lot more than a
Absolutely.
lot of
I
people, I
think
think,
that's a
consider.
huge factor of it.
That is the other thing I wanted to say that I really appreciate about your work in the last several years. Sorry, I'm shaking a bottle of paint right now. um, you take good pictures, and I appreciate that. In a sea of people who may not take as good of pictures, I need somebody else besides myself to rant about this. So tell me, how do you take a good picture, and why is it
Um,
important? And why is everyone else
right.
taking such bad pictures? Oops, I didn't say that. But
Yeah. Right. Well, it's not as simple as just snapping a photo with your phone. I wish it was. I mean, the modern phone cameras now are amazing. Obviously, if you have a DSLR or something, you're really into photography and you have that available to you, great. But even I don't, and I do miniature photography all the time. I'm not into camera photography. So like as soon as the phones got to the point where they're good enough to have a close up, macros type of setting and stuff, and like, all right, I can play around with this and get find a happy, level. But
Yeah.
the biggest thing that I see a lot of times is folks just don't have enough light. Like you want more light than you need. You always want more light. And so I have a couple of little LED cheap Amazon lights I got, and then I put a soft screen this diffuser screen like white cloth over them. So they're soft light, and then I use a small photo box, little like that
Light
people would
box,
use
yeah.
for like light box. There you go. They have those things are available. Mine would fold up and be tiny. You don't have to have something that takes up a lot of space permanently if you don't want. But between that and then I just use a sheet of craft foam, black craft foam that I got from a craft store, or you can use black construction paper or some other designed color for photo backdrops and stuff. As long as it's matte, you don't want it to be shiny, of course.
Yeah.
And then the big deal is to have your phone either rested or on a tripod or some sort of
Yeah.
mount so you're not moving it. So give yourself the best chance of not messing it up. And then you gotta play around with the phone settings. And this is where, I mean, photos are free, right? So take a lot of pictures with different settings, find out if your autofocus keeps up. Some of them don't. Depends on how the distance that you have from the miniature. Sometimes you need to zoom in and edit and see that it's, okay, this was a clear photo. But now when I kind of think I have it right, there's always, one or two of them. I was like, oh nope, that one's a little off. Let me go back and shoot that angle again, or let me use the one that I took after that.
Yep.
um, so it really comes down to once you have to kind of get that set up, and like I'm sure people are like, oh great, I have more stuff to buy. But I mean, a light box and a couple of like $30 Amazon lights and a piece of craft foam. I mean, you're not into it more than probably 60 to $70 for a decent light box. And the light box, I think some of them even come with like LED strips. I don't use those because they're not diffused. So
They're always straight
um,
from above, which is
Yeah.
horrible because then you can shade
right,
all
yeah.
the faces and everything. So
Right, you want the light coming. I have thought about getting one of those light rings just to kind
Mhm.
of do a more of a circular light and then shoot through the center of the ring. I haven't bought that. I'm not telling anybody else to buy it, but if you already have one or you were thinking about getting one and you're going to use it for something else, hey, guess what? You can use it for taking photographs of your miniatures as well.
and you can feel like
So
an influencer.
that's right. Yeah, it's like, no, mom, I'm not doing a makeup Instagram
Not
video.
a
I'm
phase,
taking photos
mom.
of my. Right. Uh, so yeah, that's the biggest stuff. And then like when you go to edit, you really need to look at making sure the miniature's centered, and you want to do your post photography edits of like, all right, does there need to be a little bit of an adjustment to the white and the black?
Yep.
Should I do the vignette filter in where you shade the outer areas of the photograph to focus on the actual subject? Well, you can do that, but if you don't have enough light to begin with, then everything's dark already and it doesn't help it out. So there's things you can do to make things look better, but there's also things you can totally sabotage your photo and make it look worse. And there's tons of people that are way better at miniature photography than I'll ever be. But really, if you watch some tutorials on YouTube or you look up some, I'm sure there's miniature forums that have, hey, here's the 101 photography guides and stuff. Like there's tons of information out there, more than I could go into. But even then, I look stuff up every now and then to see if I'm doing stuff right or if I setting I can change, or also your phone specific. Like there's going to be certain software on your phone, either the internal software from the photo your camera app, or you can get other ones and add on and use those. So you know. I could go on and on and on about all the options you have, but really the long and the short of it is you want a good source of light, you want a good backdrop, and a light box will help you a lot more with getting that kind of captured in and keeping that light kind of reflecting back in on itself. So
Okay.
you get more for your buck.
So maybe I'm
Yeah.
just ignorant on like, so what is a light box? If you could explain like what it is.
The very first article on Blood and
I
Pigment
don't read
is
that
on
website.
taking pictures in a light box. The very first one. I remember making the website and posting that article, the very first thing, because I was frustrated by people taking horrible pictures. So it's been a
Well,
long part of my frustration.
Well, and I've got an image of like what it is in my head, and I was just wanting to like, is it just a box that's got an open front and an open top?
It's open. It's a six-sided, it's normal six-sided cube with the front facing open.
Okay.
And typically they're white. Yeah, the top will be closed as well because you're
Sure.
controlling the light exposure, and you usually don't want too much light from the top anyway because that's going to give you like downward shadow. So if you have a light source in your room and it's really bright, that might impact your photography as well. It's just as much as if it wasn't enough. Yeah. So it controls where you put the light into, and then because they're typically white, the white reflects the light that you put into the box from your forward source and helps illuminate
Yeah,
from
I didn't
more
know if it
angles
was
than you could with
completely
just
open
the
at the
lights
top or if
themselves.
it had like a diffuser on top.
Science. Yeah.
It was just like closed on the top.
Right.
I have a black one I have permanently set up. It's black inside with LEDs on top on a dimmer switch, so I can turn it up or down. So I'll turn that light kind of
There you
low.
go. Yeah.
And then I have a little ring light in front of it that I'll shine directly into the box. And then I just have a cardboard box with a piece of black cloth over the top. Black is really good background. I love how you said that.
Yeah.
Because it focuses all your light on the miniature, and then you could bring up the exposure enough and control that without anything being washed out. And it puts all your attention on that central subject.
Yeah, and that's a good point. You could probably use a cardboard box if you wanted to, just to try it out to see if it really makes a difference for you. If you have the lights, but you don't want to buy a light box, I'm sure you could, DIY it.
Yeah, because that's kind of where I'm at.
The science behind it is the thing.
I've got that black foam you were talking about that I've not done anything with for years. I've got lights. I think I need to just DIY some of the like a box like this and see if I can hook it up. So yeah.
I have the article pulled up.
You find it?
November 14th, 2018.
2018.
Nobody.
All the links are dead because Amazon chugs through products so fast. But yeah, that was my first article on Blood. That was the founding article on Blood Pigment.
It's a meaningful place in Joseph's heart for photography. Ships are a whole nother animal, though, man. They're just too much. They're too big for a light box. So that gets into a whole nother realm of now you got to have probably more light, and you got to figure out like, hey, if I put it on a table, what's going to be behind it, and it helps to have a friend to maybe hold up a backdrop or something for you, or that's more involved.
Yeah, I just made a big light box basically in my basement. Well, I put a big sky. People have seen it on the blog, I'm sure. A big poster of just clouds and sky, and then a mat. And then just like 2 ring lights to the sides. And then you can back up quite a bit and get the whole piece in view. But it is a challenge to get a good picture of a ship.
Yeah, it helps to have a water mat or a blue, type of cloth drop, but low angles help too. If you have like a plain wall behind it, you can kind of fudge it with that a little bit. I do that on my dining table. So, but yeah, it helps. It helps to have a friend though with the backdrops and finding things to not have like a plant or a chair or a random piece of furniture in the background.
Back with the old metal cav too. Damn.
Yep. Yes, and then I appreciate your pictures of your boards. You always do a really great board. It helps. All your stuff is painted really beautifully, but I appreciate your cinematic photography of your pretty boards. You got multiple levels of things usually, and everything's painted nicely, and you get a good side view down the figure's point of view, which always makes for great pictures. I haven't seen very many of your pictures in Summer of Plunder yet, which makes me sad, but I was looking at some of yours.
Yeah, I had a few. I haven't been able to enter last week or two. I don't think I've had games. I had folks cancel, and then folks on vacation, and I was on vacation. I did. I think the first 4 or 5 weeks pretty consistently, but yeah, I try to get my phone down at the same level as the miniatures and take a photo or two, but yeah, and also I usually I'm submitting at like Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening because oh crap, that's due this week. So
yep, got till Monday night.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've done some Monday submissions as well. I'm sure the British commanders are like, really? The last second.
Seems like everybody is. Most people are like waiting for the last day or two. That's okay. And one more question I wanted to ask. Looks like you have a a kid or two, and you have played some games. And I was wondering if you wanted to talk about that a little bit. It's always fun to bring the youngsters and the family into the hobby, but I wondered if you would be able to talk about how you have changed the game or how you've introduced it to young players, and any advice for parents with
Sure,
kids that might want to
sure.
participate at that level.
Yeah, I've given a few like how to play or kind of like refreshers on stuff to some of my friends at my local game store and stuff because they either played a long time ago or they wanted to get into it and they got the stuff and but so usually when someone's motivated to learn how to play a game, they're very receptive to, okay, yeah, that's cool and I understand that. And they kind of, plus these, a lot of these folks are experienced with gaming, but when you start with someone that's 5 years old, it's like this is their first miniatures
Yeah.
game or akin to a board game with more complex too. So my youngest son Jackson, he started playing when he was 5. So he loves rolling dice. So
Yeah.
and sadly he is way better at it than I will ever be, and it's really annoying. So, uh, but he learned how to play before he could read. He can read now, so I had to kind of he could read he knew the numbers, but he couldn't read what the rules were on the cards and stuff. Even so we would play some small level games, and he likes being a pirate. He likes pirates, so which works out great because I've got pirates and I've got English, and I'll play the English and he plays the pirates, and then no matter what I do, he rolls saves, and then somehow he manages to roll sevens and higher and still hit me. So he's beaten me more than I've beaten him, and I know that's weird, but also, I guess coming back to it is you kind of you present the options like if you make a force for them 75 to 100 points 4 models 6 models or whatever something small, teach them how to move and measure using I have a little measuring tool. It's just an acrylic 4-inch measuring tool, kind of like the Port Royal pre-made ones, but it's a little 4-inch tool. So instead of having to kind of fumble with a tape measure or whatever, with little tiny hands, he can just put that down, and then he knows how far he can move his guys, and that made it a lot easier for him to kind of get hands on with it, because that's the important part is you want them participating. So, and Blood and Plunder is really good for something like that for 5-year-old or something that wants to play a game. It's relatively quick, and you have everything set up, and you say, hey, here's your 3 units of guys, and they have pistols, and this is it. It's like brace of pistols is a good way to start. You don't have to worry about reloads. I don't think about that. So those were some of the things I did. I had the cards out. I let them, hey, look at the cards. I showed them what the actual the deck. Here's how you draw your cards. How many units do you have? 3. Okay. How many cards can you draw? 3. Okay. And he draws his cards, and he learned pretty quickly. Spades, hearts, diamonds, and clubs, and which order and what one could go first, and that was helpful. So if your little one has the comprehension of numbers, you can already start getting them involved. And if they're not wanting to play against you, maybe have them play with you against another person, and let them do some of the things that they can do while you kind of help them along. So those were kind of the steps I took initially. And then of course rolling dice, that comes natural to me. That's the best part, right? So, oh yeah, you killed more of Dad's militia. Great. That's awesome. Oh, look, you won on turn 3. Thanks. You tabled me. Thank you. So that was
Well, you play English militia, that's how they die. I mean, we'll get to that
right.
later,
Well,
but
and yeah, and then if you, I mean, not to get into the child psychology of it, but you can play somebody on a demo and you can pants them, like it can happen. And somebody learned to play games, hey, I just learned how to get. They're not expecting to win, right? But a 5-year-old is not going to handle losing necessarily outright. So I'm not saying let them win, but I'm saying maybe don't play aggressively, or maybe kind of be a little bit softer on some of the maneuvers and things that you might do normally against a fully grown or a competent player that already knows how to play. And I'm not saying let them win. Let there be some loss and back and forth, and understand that there's consequences and that you don't always get exactly the result you want. But don't go for the throat on the on the 5-year-old. So, and then I did try one small ship game with him. It was like we'd been playing for a while. I think he was 6. It was last year with a couple of Paraguas, and it wasn't as fun for him because you're not moving as many things. So,
oh yeah.
so unless your kid's really into like ships, or really thinks that's the cool part of the game, find out what's interesting. I mean, they might like cannons. Like, okay, well, let's put some artillery on the field and let you play with that. And I mean, there's stuff that you can obviously you're going to know your kid better than anybody else. So, but make it fun for him. And then, I think one of the pictures last year, he wanted a picture. He said, "Dad, take a picture," because we had put some little like clouds of smoke, because that was one of the national objective or the weekly objectives for the English was to use smoke effects or fire effects for your cannons and pistols. So he's like, yeah, put some down and did this. And we were playing pirates, and I took the photograph that he said to take, and that's the one that won for the week. And so he won the I was like, Jackson, these tokens are yours, dude. You won.
Nice.
So I told him, like, you the only reason we won this is because you decided to tell me to take a picture, because I was thinking, hey, let's keep playing, but my son was astute enough to go, oh yeah, hey, let's take a photo. So and then just last couple weeks ago, we played in the store for the first time, and he played someone that wasn't me. So we played one of the store managers who's played Blood Plunder several times, and we played the Jamestown scenario, but we played just the land portion. So we just played the swamp area to get the watchtower.
Charlestown.
And I'm sorry, what was it? Charlestown, not Jamestown. Thank you. Yes. And he rolled like a beast. I feel bad for my buddy. It was like, oh, you need 8s. He'd be rolling like 3, 4. I mean, he'd be saving on 8s and 9s. Like, man, how you're keeping English militia alive somehow with saves? I don't know. So it was great. He had a good time, and there were, you get into some of the advanced rules with like the commanders and certain things like, if he does this, then you'll take a point. If he did that, stuff is still a little bit on the next level for him, but he understands the mechanics of the games, the turn sequences, hey, if we do this, we get to play first and we get this many actions. Oh, that was the other thing I was to talk about too. Have all your troops be like trained. Don't start with, just that way they're all reading the same line consistently. They know they get, this many actions. It says on the card. They know where to look each time. And then that way there's not is this veteran or inexperienced? No, just keep them all trained. That's let them play that way. That's another easy one to do too. So, but those are my tips for introducing a little person, a younger person into Blood and Plunder, or any game really, is to, make it fun and, go with what they're interested in and play to the strengths of what they're capable of doing, and then help them out in the stuff that they might not understand, but also, and let them have the successes. They may not win the game, but let them have the, the charge or the victory or the shooting that maybe when you stood there in the open a little bit longer than you normally would have, and they get a bunch of kills, stuff like that.
Well, I taught my son to play when he was like 7 or so, but then I made the mistake of letting him play Legion, Star Wars Legion, and now he just plays.
Yeah.
Which is the ripoff game
That's
for Blood and Plunder.
The ripoff, that's right. Well, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, that was great.
Really fun.
Do you want to keep talking? Because you could talk about what you're working on hobby-wise right now.
Oh, yeah, sure. I've got 6 European sailors with pistols that I'm painting very similar to the Firelock artwork, but 2 of them are the plastic guys that I modified with the grapples. So I've got those going. Yeah, and I've sadly I started those a couple weeks ago, and because I said the vacations and work, and actually my in-laws are visiting right now too. So here I am in my office doing this podcast. But so yeah, they're going to be sending like a little bit longer.
Just kidding.
Yeah. So I got those, and I've got a Bermuda sloop commission that I'm doing for a buddy at my game store. That I don't really do commissions, but I am doing it because he wanted a ship painted. So I just got to finish the sails and put them on, but the ship's painted, so that one's almost done. And then I've got a Corbetta that I've been eyeballing for a while that it's half painted and I need to get going. But there's those I don't know if you guys know, there's that Kickstarter for those 3D printed sails, resin sails.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was kind of waiting to see how those. I was going to have my shop print me a set, and I was going to see if those would fit on there. So I'm not sure if I wanted to do foam sails or 3D printed sails. So I'm kind of waiting to see how those turn out. So I do kind of have a quasi excuse for not painting that one yet, but.
But you have.
So my brother actually 3D printed the sample and brought it in for us to see, and it's FDM, not resin. So he printed it on FDM, and it's pretty damn good. They're very light. I don't think it would put a lot of strain on there, especially like if you used wood glue on the mask like you're supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
But I was really impressed.
Okay. Yeah.
He contacted me. Maybe I shouldn't say this on recording, but he contacted me asking if we wanted to market them or sell them on Blood and Pigment, and I responded to him. I'm interested. The main thing I'm worried about is just if they're heavy enough, like Dan said. I mean, if they're too heavy to kind of strain the normal elastic, if they look saggy, that will be unfortunate. So it just depends on how things come together.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I'm eager to
I
see
wanted to
those.
get them in hand first before I started making those decisions, and I refollow my mains so that there's room to move miniatures on the deck and stuff. But the you know, the tops and stuff, you're like, yeah, I want some cool looking sails, and man, it'd be nice if I could just have my shop print me a few, and I just strap them on after I throw some paint on there.
Yeah, it seems
Also
like
a
they
little
would
more
need a lot
resilient and
of
not gonna
testing
tear.
and everything to see if they would work well before we would
Yeah,
try to sell them, I guess.
yeah. The big one is if the jibs are heavy, they're gonna
Right.
sag.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those
Exactly.
are pretty, yeah. So that's the one I'm like, let me see. I mean, I bought it on the Kickstarter. I was like, I've got nothing else to lose, and of course, you know, if I don't have a jib or anything on there, I can, you know, figure it out. But we'll see. You know, I might have a Piragua or something with some square sails in it.
I'm eager for them to succeed, but I want to get my hands
Yeah,
on them.
yeah, and it's a good idea. I mean, honestly, like I didn't put sails on my light frigate for like 2 years because I was like, I don't know how I want to do this, and it was really an obstacle. It was like analysis paralysis for that. So everything else was done. I just
My
didn't put it
sister
on there.
and my cloud both don't have sales because of
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I started making sales, paper sales, and marketing them on Blood and Pigment to help people get sales on their ships, but it's mostly been Dan and Garrett ordering sales from me now. So I don't know.
I got a set for my flout, and I like them so much that I kind of like anytime I want to redo one, I'm like, I kind of just want to get Joseph to make me some.
Well, and if nothing else, he's doing flags and pennants too. So he's done files for flags and pennants as well. So you can, if nothing
That's
else, you don't
great.
use the
Yeah.
sails. Those are kind of harder to make. So like with foam and stuff, like they're harder to make. The flags, you know, you print them out, but man, pennants are kind of hard. So
Yeah. I usually do my flags and stuff like that with cloth, but yeah,
mhm.
they're more time more of a time sink than anything else really.
Yep, yep.
And if you're not good at freehanding, some of the more complicated flags are kind of out of your
I did
out of your
mine
reach.
thanks to Rufus.
Right.
He uses aluminum foil and then just basically prints the flag off, you know, on a piece of paper, Mod Podges it to the foil, and then you can basically set it up on the mini or you know where it's going to go, and then you can when you Mod Podge the 2 layers of tinfoil together, you can get a wave or whatever, and then when it dries, it looks wrinkled like cloth. They look really good. And I'm like a bottom tier
Yeah.
hobbyist when it
I
comes to
need to do that. That's
crafting
a great.
stuff like that, and I'm pretty impressed with what I was able to do.
Yeah, I've seen that done, and I tried it out for the very first time using a foil, you know, base with wrapped in paper, and I did it on my English standard bearer, and it turned out really, really good. I was like, man, I don't know why I haven't done this before. So yeah, I might consider doing that instead of doing the foam like flags and pennants, just because it went way better than I thought it would.
Yeah, the foam just doesn't have any shape to it. It's just
Yeah.
straight,
Yeah.
which looks okay on
Well,
a ship
you're
for a
trying to
while.
form it with a hair dryer and get the curve, and then you
Mhm.
put a curve in it, and then you go to the next part and you try to put a curve in it and not take the other curve out with the heat, and it's just like
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot of work. So they look good and they're very resilient. If you bump them, they don't do anything. They just kind of spring back. But you know, yeah, I didn't want to use paper at first and have it tear, but with that aluminum foil trick that I don't know how I didn't know that, but you know, this just not too long ago, I'm like, this is awesome. So yeah, probably gonna incorporate that now.
Okay, so Dan, what have you been working on lately?
So I've been on a plunder hiatus hobby-wise because I was just kind of exploring other outlets because I got surprise, surprise, a little burnt out of painting plunder minis. So after I finished my pirates, I went, you know, I want to do something else. So I just been doing like other model kits and whatnot. But this past week, Joseph had sent me, I think I bought it from him, a Gen 1 sloop with metal fittings like a year ago. I was originally going to give it away for a prize at the tournament, but then my tournament fell through and I don't have enough people to kind of run one. So I said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and just paint that. And I did, and it looks great. I got some of the. I didn't use all the metal fittings. I had to use some of the wood 'cause I built the heavy bark, but I got some of the metal fittings on there, and it looks kind of fun. I like it. I like the metal fittings for holding the mast together. I felt like it was a little more sturdy.
People are going to be surprised when they get those from Summer of Plunder this year. I had some sloops that I gave away as prizes.
Oh, the metal
They're
fitting
like,
ones. I don't own
metal
one of those.
what?
I don't own a metal fitting sloop.
I did not like working with the metal, so I
Hey,
apologize.
you
but
can order
free
you can
stuff
order
is-
a kit from Firelock if you
Yeah.
really hate it.
Sorry.
Like You can, yeah, it's not that expensive.
Yeah, I did
$8,
that, and
yeah.
then Wargames Atlantic dropped some New Kingdom Egyptians. So we had talked about just like making some random factions for pillage because that's what we play when we're not doing plunder at this point. So in about an hour, I knocked up some rules for some New Kingdom Egyptians to play in pillage. Martin is printing me 3 chariots to use because it's really small scale, and then once I have my Egyptians in hand, I'm just gonna go ahead and get them painted up. And I really like Wargames Atlantic; they're solid. Really solid plastic kits. I enjoy making all of them.
Yeah, yeah, the Wargames Atlantic kits are really good. I've been doing.
And they're so well priced. You have to supply the bases, but I just get the ones from the Phalanx Games and Sundry, the Phalanx Consortium. I just get a bag of like 125mm bases for like $3.
Yeah, yeah, or if you got a buddy that's got an FDM printer, there you can just print them pretty decently. If you want to segue into what I've been doing, speaking of Wargames Atlantic, I've been doing Valor minis from Wargames Atlantic, printed. Let's see, Austro-Hungarians, and then I had somebody, Jason, actually printed me the Austro-Hungarians and Arab heads to go on the British kit, and so I'm going to have Arabs in British uniforms for the Arab Northern Army for Arab Revolt list. Yeah, and I've been working on Plunder Terrain, so I'll talk about it in a later segment. But I did a game that I needed a lot more buildings for, so I finished up 2 more 3D printed buildings. One of them was the Dutch house that Jason put on his one of his 3D STL store, whatever it is. I can't remember what he usually uses for that. What'd you say?
Colts 3D.
Colts 3D. That's it. Anyway, it was
3D,
his house, his Dutch house that he did for that. Is really cool STL. Painted it up and got it finished in one other house that I kind of Frankenstein together that looks decent. Not anything to write home about, but looks good. Had a lot of buildings on the table, so always good to get stuff finished. What are you working on currently, Joseph, right now as you paint?
Jason's 3D designs are awesome. Jason's 3D print designs are awesome. He needs to make some more of them. He is a gamer and a 3D print expert, so whatever he makes,
all of his
prints,
stuff,
really well.
he does a really good job of making it easy to print and easy to put together as well.
Yeah, his swivel guns on field carriages look really good.
Yeah, his watchtower. That swivel gun is actually a model. He used pictures of the swivel gun we use in the reenactments in St. Augustine for that. So it's an
Nice.
older, like it's
That's awesome.
not 17th century really, but I mean it's pretty close. It's more like 15th century, but it looks close enough.
Yeah.
Especially when you don't have a model for it. It's good enough. So what are you working on currently, Joseph, as you paint while we do a podcast?
I've got 3 commanders on my desk I'm working on all at the same time. I'm doing Woods Rogers, the last of the minis from the Summer Plunder organized play kit. Pretty fun mini. I'm trying to figure out how to do them different than everybody else. Everybody else is doing a brown coat, make them look like Black Sails version. So I found a cool green and gold coat from this early 18th century that I'm going to use for him. And then I'm also doing 2 of the miniatures from the Rise of the Buccaneer project, the French commander, and then Juan de Ceres, a maroon named commander. Just trying to get him done. They need a picture of him for the book that's wrapping up. So working on some commanders. But I haven't really got, well, I guess I did most of the Summer Plunder commanders since last time. I got Peter Stool and Greylock and oh yeah, I did Rock Braziliano too, which is another one of the big commanders from Rise of the Buccaneers, and I got pictures of him all set in that light box to go up on the blog pretty soon here too. So just hitting commanders basically. I haven't painted a unit in so long, and I have these 18th century pirates begging for me to paint them and haven't got to them yet. And Dan already did his like months ago and got bored of painting, and I'm still trying to get 6 figures done.
Speed paints, baby. They go burr.
Yep.
Okay, so
Yep, that's me. We've been getting a bunch of terrain done too. We got
Hell yeah.
5 tubs of terrain stored at my local game store, who's really a great store. And we try to buy our own tubs, but they insisted they buy their own tubs and provide them for us so they fit on their shelves and stuff. And we don't have to keep lugging terrain back and forth and getting it destroyed. We got 3-4 tables worth of stuff we can just pull out.
It's really
anytime
nice to have stuff there. I noticed that game I was talking about with all of my buildings. I did notice that one of my buildings 3D printed roof is starting to like curl up from being in the hot car. I'm like, ugh, I got to replace that, I guess.
Ooh, yeah.
Luckily, it was one that I had, like, it was very crudely painted, but it's just the more you tote stuff around and everything, the more it gets destroyed.
And that is something you do need to consider, because the ships that are resin, leave them in a warm place for too long and you're going to end up with a crooked ship. So I've had that happen, and it's not fun. Yeah. And then the new resin 3D prints, they should be a little bit more robust, but if it gets hot enough, you're going to end up with a bunch of droopy swords and bent muskets if you're not careful. So, think about where you're storing them. And I'm not knocking anybody. I've done it as well, because you don't think about it and then you come back and you're sad. So.
But you live in Georgia where it's cool all year round, right?
Oh yeah, no, it's a balmy 62 degrees year round. So.
It's the sultry, balmy South.
70s and low 80s all week. Oh, the 10-day forecast is all 70s.
Yeah.
And 80s.
Okay.
We're looking at 106, and I hate it.
All right. Enough about the weather. Ryan, have you played any games or anything of note lately? I know you came up and saved my pathetic tournament that I had at the beginning of Summer of Plunder, because none of my locals showed up, or hardly any of them showed up. We had a few people, but it was a good time.
That sounds familiar.
But Ryan came out with the victory, if I remember correctly.
I did. There was skin in my teeth on that last round there. I just had enough bodies to throw at a bunch of pirates that I just kept them from making the breakthrough line. But yeah, and no shame in having people not being able to make it to an event that you thought they were able to make it to. But you still had you had 6, and one guy wasn't feeling too well, so he had to leave, which I felt bad about. And, it happens, but also like 2 or 3 of the players there were fairly new. So, it's good because they're playing the game, they're getting exposed to it, they're getting, reps and experience and learning from other players. And, I'm pretty easygoing. Like I'm not a try hard by any sense, even if it's a tournament, kids asking questions about something. I was like, yeah, you can do that, or you could do this, or, try to remember a rule. I'm not going to play for them, but at the same time, like if they have a question, I'm not going to say too bad, you should know. I'm not like that. So. Shoot, I even stopped and asked you a couple questions because I'd been a little bit rusty too. I wasn't I wasn't sure I was going to make that tournament, and then I was like, I haven't played in a tournament before. This is a little bit different mindset than showing up to meet your buddies and have some snacks and roll some dice. But but yeah, no, I did barely eke out first place there, but it was a ton of fun. Everybody was really good to play with, and Garrett put on a nice spread of historic as well as customized snacks, which I probably ate too many of those brownies and jerky, but
the jerky
was awesome.
Historic. The brownies were not, but they were both good.
Yeah. Yeah, and the hardtack, I'll never have to try that again. So shipped biscuits. Oh, sorry, yeah.
My kids just found a piece of hardtack in the basement with my reenacting stuff from about 20 years ago. It still looks the same. They would be to eat it. I don't know if I'm up for it, but
can make hardtack by feel because I made it so much.
Yeah. No. So I was like, I'm going to chip a tooth before I play round 1. I'm going to be going to the dentist instead of the game here. So, but no, I unfortunately, I was supposed to meet a couple of my friends not only this week but last week, and they all had to cancel. So I was going to get a naval game in with my Barca Luengo for the first time, and didn't. It's not going to happen. Hopefully in a week or 2, I'll be able to get that game in. But so basically, the last game of Blood and Plunder I played was with my son at the game store 3 weeks back, and then just had a couple of small games at Port Royal using the solo rules, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But that's how it goes sometimes. But my son beat the crap out of my store manager. That was pretty awesome.
All right, Dan, do you have anything you want to bring
So
in?
yeah, actually, this past week we did the Blackbeard's Last Battle from the Organized Play Kit, which I designed and wrote the fluff text for. Very proud of that. My wife and Martin played, and that was a really fun game to kind of watch because it was her second C game, and Martin ended up raking her twice because end of the turn he activated on a club, shot, reloaded twice, and then beginning next turn got a heart, reloaded twice, pushed to shoot. So she got raked twice from the bow. But even though she handled all the repairs, she went downwind and used chain shot on Martin. Both of them were in resin sloops, and she got the one that reduced his speed by 1. It was just enough for her to swing around and board. Then she beat the bejesus out of him.
That's pretty good to come back from a double rake, but yeah, that double rake, I've seen it before. It's discouraging.
Luckily, it was light guns. It was medium guns. She probably would have exploded, but basically the best shot you can get with pop guns. But it was funny. And then I played with my Russian privateers from my Northern War expansion, and my brother is working on a Cursed Crew faction. So he took the Firelock Cursed little flavor thing they did, and he's turned it into a full-blown faction, so he's playtesting it. And at range, they have really good shoot saves, and they can get back up after you kill a model if on a 6-up. So I decided, well, I guess I should just get close and start chopping heads. It was hard, but I managed to make them all disappear, because they have a rule per Firelock where if they have as much fatigue as what the resolve value is, they just auto-route, because their magic just kind of breaks down. But it was a lot of fun. When I saw him pull it out, I was like, oh, I don't want to play against that. That's going to be difficult, but it was fun.
How has it been playing your Northern War factions this
Oh,
summer?
it's been a lot of fun.
Like...
It's been so much fun. I love playing that stuff. And I know it's balanced because my win-loss ratio on land is still about the same. So it's not like I'm blowing through people, so it's balanced. And then I've been playing mainly my Russians. Martin's been playing the Danes all summer. Tyler's been playing the Swedes. So we've all had our own little flavors to deal with, and everything seems pretty well balanced. I'm, again, very, very proud that nothing kind of got through my net other than getting called out that I had a battle that I mislabeled. And I was pretty embarrassed about that, and we'll need to fix that. But it was great. It's been great. It's been super fun.
Did you do the Rufus and just whoever pointed that out to you, just be like, oh, shut up, nerd?
Of course not. I'm not Rufus. I don't have that aura. I don't have the raw confidence that man has. What had happened was when I was reformatting things, I had a scenario that I cut, but the title stayed put in my rough draft document, and I didn't catch it, and neither did my editor. So I was like, that's I will fix that, because once we get some Raise the Black Errata, I'm gonna have to put some stuff in that book anyway, because that's what it's based off of. So I'll fix it then. But yeah, it's been a pretty fun summer of Plunder. Love taking pictures, love giving out prizes, love shipping prizes. It's been pretty fun.
Yeah, by the time this drops, Summer of Plunder might be over, but we've got 1 week left.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, 1 week left. Essentially, but 1 week in like a day.
Looks like we're gonna hit 2,000 entries this year.
Is that a record?
Sort of. 1 year we did 14 weeks, so like another 40% more.
Yeah.
So that had
Okay.
more entries, but for the 9-week campaign, I think it is.
I don't know how I survived 14 weeks. Wow.
I know.
Was that the second year?
Second or third?
Yeah. It's been at 9, and I feel like 9 is plenty for a while.
Jason made me go down to 9, and he was
right. You hear that? It's on recording. I will make sure that I put that audio up a little bit when I edit it.
No, Jason's right most of the time, but
What have you been up to, Joseph?
pretty regular games. Out of town a couple times here and there, summer things. But I've got through most of the Summer of Plunder scenarios, which has been fun. Way back, did the Steed Bonnet scenario. Eric made one for one of the weeks, was the Port Royal scenario, which I still don't play much Port Royal. So we play the Blood and Plunder version of it. That was fun. Used actually Tyler's version of the scenario from Dead Man's Chest. which is great. You can look up his scenario there. I think he's running that at Nova Open, or somebody is. So if you want to try that scenario out where you're getting beached all the time, your little sloops are hitting the bottom of the river, it's a pretty fun scenario. We did the Charlestown scenario, which is always a chaotic mess. We did that at I designed it a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, and then we did it at Adepticon. That was the one I didn't make it to, though.
The Charlestown, that was the one that I designed, I think.
Okay, sorry, stolen valor here.
I mean, you helped a lot with it, but that was my original idea.
I like that one. So good job. Where it's kind of amphibious, but
Thank
it's not typical amphibious where you have some forces of both sides on land and on sea, and you have to balance your attack. Don't want to lose in both places, but don't want to lose too badly in one place. Big 6-player game of that. And then I did the Hatfield raid 3 times in one evening. This is the little kind of smaller scale native raid on English. Yeah, it was just me and one other guy that night. Everybody else was unavailable, and it's a small game, so we played it 3 times in a row, about 30, 45-minute games. Got some scalps. Although the defender lost, I think, every single time. Then we did the Blackbeard scenario last week, and my Blackbeard, it was a good game. Was getting upwind pretty well, but then there's always that in a ship game, especially when you're trying to escape, there's often that one crucial initiative pull where if you go first, you're going to do really well, and if you go second, you're not going to go well. It's not going to go well. So yeah, I lost initiative, and then all those English came over and charged me instead of me charging them, and I lose my war cry, and Blackbeard routed with 7 fatigue, and everybody died. So, shame there. But it was a good, close scenario until that crucial moment, which is kind of what you want.
I'm really proud of that scenario. I've been sitting on that for like years waiting for an excuse to use it. And then when you said, hey, we need someone, I went, oh, I have it. And it's one of the few times we can have a 1-to-1 basically account of that battle, which I think is the coolest thing about it, is the exact number of guys from like 3 different books that I had to read and pick up and figure it out. I know the armaments may be a little but it's the exact number of guys that participated in that fight.
Yeah, most things you have to scale down, but that's cool. Then I did a tournament. And I sympathize with your frustration where your locals don't show up, but all the people come in from out of town. So we had 10 people, which is pretty awesome. It felt good. That feels like a real tournament. You aren't playing the same people more than once. We got a bunch of people down from the Seattle area. So it's a good 3-hour drive. They came down the night before, so I appreciate them all coming in and making it a great event. But yeah, it was only 3 people from my regular group. Everybody else is out of town or unavailable. But that was a 3-round land tournament. I played Henry Morgan's Buccaneers, just to try to make Dr. D shut up about it. Which I got 3rd place with it, which wasn't bad. I just got to cut through these French-Canadian saves and cover and stuff. But yeah, good tournament. A lot of good people. Robert Montgomery won the event, came in from Montana. He's been fine-tuning his French play for a good while now and played really well. French Buccaneers on land, pretty good. French are just overpowered French. I haven't said it in a while.
Yeah, I mean, the French Canadians seem like they've been tearing it up on land lately.
Yeah, well, French Caribbean militia had a good showing at Adepticon too. French have fun
that's
options.
true.
And we use I want to push the Longshanks event organizing software. There's a website that a lot of other game systems. Have you used that before, Ryan, in your other gaming career or gaming adventures?
I guess I'm not following the what now?
Longshanks?
No, I have not.
I first used it with Star Wars Unlimited, which I play with my kids, and when they do events, they pre-release and tournaments and stuff, we have to log into that, and it logs all your plays and keeps track of stats, and it will do pairings and rankings and all sorts of great stuff. Dr. D. Dylan saw us our spreadsheets we use for tournaments and how sketchy they look, although they're quite functional, and got Blood and Plunder up on the Longshank site. So it's free to use. You can do a subscription version that has a few more services, but it's a great little system for running a tournament or even other events. And the more games get logged on, it keeps track of all these stats and which nation's winning. And you can have like a world ranking of players and the best player of the English and the French. Right now, I am the king of the English, by the way, because I played 3 games. And there's just not a lot of stats right now. But...
Boo, boo.
But Dr. D wrote an article up on Blood and Pigment that you can check out, and it kind of outlines how to use it. We're hoping it catches on a little bit. We'll try to. I think we're going to try to use it for Adepticon this year, which might be a hard thing to make happen, but it's awfully convenient and works pretty well, and would be a big boon to the community if enough people bought into it. So look it up. Look up the article on Blood and Pigment. It's really easy to make a account. You don't have to do much, and you get an ID number that you kind of need to remember or have available to log in and lock your games and stuff. But we used that for the first time for a tournament, and it worked great. Really easy. Just push a button, makes your next round. It ranks everybody with appropriate tiebreakers and everything, and it was a dream. Put some pictures up of that tournament on Blood and Pigment, although I forgot to take a picture of everybody that was there. It was a great group.
Sounds good.
But I got a lot of experience with English, which is part of the show today.
So I can plug my little game real quick. I ran what I was trying to make it a Pirates of the Caribbean, the ride themed treasure scramble.
Oh yeah, I want to hear about this.
There's a group of ladies that game at my game store, and they do just random stuff. Like 1 month they'll do D&D, the next month they'll play Magic, the next month they'll play Warhammer, and they landed on Blood and Plunder this month apparently, and so they were asking, who to get to for Blood and Plunder, and of course everybody just pointed at me. So I ran this game for them. We had 2 tables, 4 players each. I created this scenario to where it was kind of a treasure scramble that was a little bit more themed. There were cursed treasures on the board. The more cursed treasures that you had, the more you had to roll on this very nasty table that I had that would do things to you that were mean. But if you could, hold it together and keep all of your treasure, you would win at the end, because all of the treasure. Each treasure marker would give you a victory point at the end. I also had civilians on the board that you could capture. That would give you 1 victory point for each civilian. And I also had it, if you burned a house, then you would also get a victory point for that. But if a treasure was in the if you burned the house before you searched for the treasure in the house, the treasure was going to burn up in the house. So, you gotta look in the house first for plunder before you burn it.
Plunder first, then war
But
crimes.
it seemed like everybody had a really good time with that. I was trying to make it very accessible for people who may not have even played a miniatures game before, because I think a few of these ladies had never played a miniatures game. So I was trying to make it very accessible and kind of quick to play. Give kind of the flavor of Blood and Plunder without really getting into the minutia of the rules and everything. So I think that went over pretty well. And I kind of want to develop this into possibly something that I can run at conventions later on. I think it might be a good, silly, non-historical convention game to play sometime.
That can pull some people in that might not play the Fires of Panama or something. That's good.
Right. But yep, that was my big thing that I did yesterday. And shout out to my wife, who knows a little bit about Blood and Plunder. She helped me run one of the tables. So
Nice.
And she also helped me set up the tables, it took both of us, I think, a full-on hour to set everything up, get lists out, set everything up, and get going. So It would have taken me probably double that time.
Somebody else, Adam Horton, one of the guys who came down from Seattle, just ran a cursed treasure scenario. I just saw it on Plunder entries, so you guys are on similar wavelengths.
Okay, do we want to talk about some English/British? Do they truly rule the waves?
Riley's kind of our most consistent British player, so
I'm kind of surprised he's not here. I was kind of figured he would be here.
A couple of weeks. He's had family in town and whatnot, but yeah, we didn't get him on
Yeah.
here. But Ryan can be our English representative. You play mostly English.
Yeah,
and Pirates, is that right?
Primarily English. Yep, I do enjoy being a pirate every now and then, and as I'm building up more Dutch, I think I might dip my toe into that faction for some fun. So,
well, I think what you think about when you think of the English nation, more than anything, is they are the cliched a jack of all trades but a master of none. But what I do think they have a mastery of is the resolve stat. Dan and I, before we got onto this podcast, because I asked the question because I couldn't think of any units that did. Are there any English units that have a 6 resolve? And we couldn't find any.
Commonwealth Musketeers.
Well, that are out currently.
Oh, sorry.
But yes, they on average, I think, have the best resolve of any nation. I think the next nation behind them would probably be the Dutch, that have the best resolve on average.
I would say that's accurate.
But that's just me. That's just me. Like a vibe thing. I don't have math to back
As
that up.
resident Dutch players,
But
yes. The only thing that we don't have 6s on, that we don't have 5s on, is stuff like our militia and I think our cavalry.
But that's really like the stat of the English nation is the resolve. But that being a jack of all trades and a master of none type mentality with the English also, I think, gives it a little bit more of a beginner feel to the English. Not saying that they have a lot of deep factions, but as like the stats and everything, and maybe like the special rules are a little more easier to get into with the English. And I don't know, we always seem to push people that are new to go to the English or the Pirates. I don't know if other people have felt that way, but
I think that they're the easiest. If you're starting out, I found them to be super easy. I started kind of with the English. I got English models and then went Dutch and went that way. But I think they're very easy because you don't have to keep track of something like Ruthless. They have some ball and shot and whatnot, but I think that their rules are very streamlined and they're kind of easy to pick up.
What led you to play English, Ryan?
My hatred for the Spanish. But
boo this man.
No, it was kind of one of those not really into the Spanish, not really into the French. The Dutch seemed kind of cool, but the English, I'm like, all right, I'm kind of familiar, and it just seemed like what most appealed to me. And I kind of picked before I learned the rules of Blood and Plunder. So, like I said, Dutch pirates, those kind of interest me too. It's and it's not against any faction. I don't talk anybody out of playing a faction if they want to play Blood and Plunder. Be like, yeah, man, play what you want. That's the point of the game, is to enjoy yourself. So, but yeah, who doesn't want to be Captain Morgan sailing across and capturing Panama, or taking a bunch of redcoats on land and shooting down a bunch of French, because why not? So it's just
liberating Spanish gold.
That's right. But I agree. It's easier. It's more forgiving on the, I probably shouldn't have been standing there and I just got shot. But look, I made a bunch of saves because my resolve are good, so I didn't get routed. So that's. So I think there's a bit of built-in kind of forgiveness because the English are at times too stubborn to die, which is nice. But also you will find that some days you roll a bunch of 3s and you're like, wow, yeah, I just lost 4 dudes. So it doesn't always work. So, but yeah, you do kind of have to get a little more creative and a little used to, oh man, you guys shoot really well, or oh man, you guys have Ruthless on pretty much every unit. I got to manage my fatigue a little better, or try to, focus on some management and some of the mechanics of the game that are built in, and kind of learn from that exposure, because no one wants to be shot at with advantage over and over and over again, because eventually you won't save it all. So
Yeah. Yeah, English are obviously very central to the game because of the large part they played in buccaneering, and they're kind of they were one of the two main factions in that core Kickstarter. The French were a stretch goal, we have to remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the two main things that I really appreciate about the English is their resolve, and then not only their resolve, but their rules that bolster their resolve. One of the very common rules for factions is once per turn, so 6 times a game, you can re-roll a fatigue test. This comes up on their militia style forces, which can be a pretty big deal. It can let you take some more dangerous gambles, maybe charging somebody, you have to take a defensive shot. And if you don't make that resolve check, you're going to shake and your whole charge is going to get ruined. But if you know you have a free reroll on that resolve check, it can lead you or encourage you to take bigger risks and get more stuff accomplished. So fatigue is great. They got a lot of tough. So they got fatigue removal. They got that reroll. That's good. They got a good stat in general. And then the other thing is they almost all have a good fight save. So those are two things that benefit a less experienced player. Just keeps you in the game. You aren't spending turns just rallying people, which always kind of sucks. You can't play the game. You're just getting killed over and over by the time you rally, and by the time you get to go again, you're rallying again. So that's not a great experience for newer players. So it's good for that. And then once you get into melee can be very sudden, brutal, and swingy, but majority of your English units have a 6 fight save, which is pretty sturdy. And you can get that down even further with hardcover and whatnot. So those are the two main things I appreciate about them. And then they have a wide variety of factions because they're pretty much present in any theater you go to. So they have a lot of factions in the core book and in No Peace Beyond the Line, and a bunch of factions in Fire on the Frontier, smaller project with only a couple of nations in there, and then they're all over in Raise the Black, and then they're pretty central to the Rise of the Buccaneers too. So there's a lot of them. But on the other side, the weakness is they don't have the combos that bring their aggression into focus. They don't get ruthless very much. They don't get strict very much. They don't have really low fight or shoot numbers. They have a lot of mid-level attack, but good defense. So it's hard to, I think, as you get to higher levels, it's hard to min-max them and really wipe people off the board, which makes them more challenging for a competitive environment, in my opinion. Everyone fall asleep?
I'm inclined to agree.
I was going to say, before we go into the next segment, I was looking at the English faction stuff. Anytime that I play the English, I like to play the English Buccaneers because that's what I am in real life, is an English Buccaneer. And I've got a list going, a Musket C list going that might be pretty good. So I'll let that stew, but we'll see. English commanders, any standouts for anybody on what
we got to
like?
talk about Henry Morgan, the original Pirate of the Caribbean.
Didn't he used to be like 42 points or something? Yeah, he used to be like 42 points or something, and then got dropped down, thankfully.
Mm-hmm.
He's only 32 now, right?
Yeah, something like that.
10-point drop.
20 inches, 3 command points. Broadside, God's Blessing and Devil's Luck, Lucky, Very Inspiring, and Misfortune at Sea.
So I just played him in the tournament last week, and
which was a land tournament.
Land tournament. Yep, I used his faction, and he's really solid. I mean, I love Lucky. You can spend fortune like a fiend and get it back.
Yep.
You can kind of push Yeah, that's average. I want more. I'll try it. Okay, that's average again. I get it back. Which doesn't necessarily help, but it can help if you get better than average, which you always can get worse than average too. But at least you get it back. And then I really like, it's harder to use than it help. I mean, when I first started playing the game 10 years ago, we were just learning how to play. The faction rule to swap out one activation card per turn felt really good, and it still feels pretty good. It can really help in certain situations, but it's not as strong as I remember when I played him intensely this last couple of weeks. That's pretty cool too. But yeah, he has a lot of fortune, 4 fortune, and he has lucky, and he has very inspiring. And those are all good for mitigating some luck and some rolls and stuff, but there's nothing that makes his men extra deadly. So it's all about survival and mitigating disasters, but not wiping people off the board. That's kind of how it went for me.
Well, and the 20 inches and 3 command points really helps on land. So I think Henry Morgan is definitely in the game, and probably in history too, a better land commander than a sea commander.
Yeah, that misfortune at sea is big. I mean, it doesn't come up very much, but I always get shoals. So it's better not to.
Well, and it's repairs too. If you start taking criticals, you can't re-roll repairs or changing sail settings or advanced maneuvers if you're trying to, cross the wind. All the fancy stuff you do for sailing is going to be harder with him.
I feel like I already have misfortune at sea personally, so
built into the player.
Old Magnet Joe.
Yeah. That's right. But
I barely play the English nation personally, so I don't really have a favorite commander, or I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Same.
What do you like to play, Ryan?
Lately, I've been playing James Moore and Samuel Mosley. So I have run Challenger Ogle before, and that was on a cannon list, and he just decimated my buddy's sloop.
It's Gold Sting.
Dan has PTSD about Challenger Ogle.
So Challenger Ogle, yeah. Wasn't his cousin named the same exact thing? There's like 2 of them historically, but they were like a couple decades apart. But anyway, nerd stuff like that. But yeah, I haven't had a chance to run a few of the name, the more like bigger names and stuff, just because I'm not able to play as much lately. But I did enjoy Henry. I played Henry Morgan on land. I haven't played him at sea. That whole, just like Garrett listed, all those basically deficits, and like there's other better sea commanders to use with less risk. Captain Kidd's fun. I liked William Kidd. But man, Maynard historically is fine if you're playing that scenario, but I don't know. Maybe I don't play him right, but I'm not a huge fan of his special rule. So the whole fatigue, the whole command point thing. But we can talk more about that if we want. So, of course, that comes down to personal style, and also I'm not the greatest player. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I mean, I'm absolutely 100% going to make multiple mistakes every time I play. Forget rules that I have or advantages that I have, and then remember them like the next turn and be like, well, that would have been useful 5 minutes ago. But
just casually win tournaments, and
I solely devote that to, I brought a lot of bodies and I played people that didn't play very often. And that's not to say that they weren't good at playing, but it's, I mean, there's a distinct advantage if you've been playing a game for several years and you're playing a couple of new players and then you get lucky on the last game. That is exactly what happened. I am not being boastful at all for winning a tournament that I probably could have easily lost. It's just the same. So
you're very modest.
It's okay. You can boast.
You can do whatever you want.
I'll allow it. So Chandler Ogle, he definitely is one of the top tier big gun lists commanders. And I want to say Captain Kidd is pretty good in that area as well.
Captain Kidd is pretty much a Challenger Ogle. It has a lot of the same rules. He just gets heavily built. And he doesn't get false colors. But yeah, they're very similar commanders, just different force.
Anybody else in that area that's really good that I'm not thinking of?
There's several sea or like Navy, English Navy style commanders coming out with the Rise of Buccaneers. But other good ones are, I think, John Morris. He's a 30-point Buccaneer commander, but he has a different style of cannon list with the vast experience rule, which is really good for shooting cannons because it's one of the rules, rare rules, where you can re-roll one die out of your test, and that's really helpful for ranging shots on cannon. So he can shoot 3 guns, miss with 1, re-roll it. That was my clever hack for Adepticon 2025, but I re-rolled into 2s and 3s every time, which didn't work out so well.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I was on the other side of the table when that happened.
But he's a good sea commander too, and
yeah,
for
it looks like it. It's also got inspiring, which is always nice, and 3 command points.
Yeah, you can.
I was gonna shout out to my main man, Robert Cyril, as well. He is a good boarding commander, I feel like.
He's Riley's go-to.
Trying to look for him again. But I know I looked at him and I was like, oh yeah, he gives like everybody hard chargers. Yeah, he's got aggressive commander, brawlers. So yeah, he's kind of who I feel like you need to reach for if you want to do boarding as English, with like you said, the saves that the English get is probably not a bad idea.
Yeah, that hard chargers just makes a big difference. If you're going against French, they have 5 fight with hard chargers. English have 6 fight with brawlers, which is a less impactful rule. So if you can add hard chargers on, then you can get your fight down to 5, and that makes a big difference. So he's one of the best.
And it doesn't turn off brawlers. So if you get those 10s, you're hitting on a lower number. So
yeah, that's good.
Anybody that you can think of that is good at musketry? Or really opens that up in some way?
Anybody with cold-blooded, because you're going to basically have built-in ruthless, so you're handing out the command points across the deck.
This isn't C, but musketry, probably my favorite competitive English list is Benjamin Church's Raiders. Got those Indian fighters. Yeah. They have tough, they have scouts, and then you put ruthless on them as a faction rule. Plus, Benjamin Church gives everybody quick with mobile. That's one of the best combo English lists, and you can bring Native Americans. It's just murder.
You're stacking everything on. Yep.
Yes.
I forgot about Church, yeah.
He's one of the most competitive English commanders, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Jaden played him last year, and he did really well.
Eric, I think, has played him some as well.
He's placed at Adepticon 2 years in a row with him.
Yeah.
Hornigold.
Definitely really...
Sorry, going back, but Hornigold is another really good English boarding commander with English privateers. He has ruthless as well, cold-blooded plus hard chargers from the privateers plus brawlers. You can kill some people that way. Woods Rogers is Dan's favorite commander in the game, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard him say that
lots of times.
Eyes and slander. I control the audio.
I think Garrett needs to edit this one.
I can just to, and I'll go back and get some. Yes, he is my favorite.
Plug my voice into an AI generator.
Audio, yeah. Plug your voice into it.
Yes.
No, I don't need AI to do that. I'll just pull it from previous episodes. Yeah, very inspiring, indomitable, Commodore, broadside, tough.
Pretty good.
Yep. Just kind of all around good.
Peters.
Yeah, sorry, my headspace there was in C games, but that tends to be where I like to play competitively. So I had completely forgotten about Church, but yeah, he's been really good in the tournament scene lately.
The Dutch guy, Peter Schuyler, or Schuler, looks like. I should say it's Schuyler, though. He's a solid commander. He has motivated, I believe, and maybe even strict. Tyler Stone used this guy's really effectively at sea with motivated loading cannons really quickly, but he's really solid in any situation he's in. the Fire on the Frontier expansion. It's North American militia, but you can do him at sea. But they're just a solid commander all around.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of commanders for English, a lot of mid-level guys, and then this Rise of the Buccaneers, it has a lot more commanders that can command English, and a lot of like 10 to 18 cost, which is kind of a great spot. You aren't spending 30 like some of these big guys, but they have some interesting things. So I'm looking forward to what options that book opens up for the English.
Yeah. So we can go through some of the English signature units, starting with the signature unit, I feel like, for Blood and Plunder, the Freebooters.
Yeah, they are probably I said they were the premier musket marksman unit, but then we were talking about freebooters. But both of them, I would say, are the premier marksman units for the English.
Yeah, definitely. So freebooters, 6 points. You get a fight of 6/6, a shoot of 6/7, resolve of 5, of course, because English don't have anything higher. They get sailors, ball and shot, fast reload, and marksman. They can be upgraded to veteran, and they may add plug bayonets for 4 points per model, or 4 points, not per model. So just a flat 4 points for plug bayonets, and of course, upgrading to veteran is a point per model. Yeah, I've heard, Joseph, you said this unit's kind of the baseline for everything else, as far as like points go.
Well, this is one of the first units in the game, right? This is the Buccaneer. This is kind of the core of Blood and Plunder. This is your warlike privateer who wants to plunder the Spanish and has brought the equipment and courage to do so. But a lot of people feel like they've kind of fallen behind the power curve a little bit. So that's been an interesting discussion. Anybody listened to our last episode, Dylan brought him up more than once, if I recall correctly. Which is funny because everybody's really enjoying the veteran freebooters at 7 points. But for 1 point more, you get veterancy plus 1 stat difference and free bayonets, which is a good value. But I played with these guys a bunch last couple weeks with my tournament prep and tournament play. And the thing is, yeah, they're really good. 6 points is a lot for a model when there's so many 3-point models, and there is just huge value in just having a lot of men on the board. But they have a lot of great abilities. Ball and shot's good. Fast reload is good, but it's only good 1/4 of the time because it only triggers on a spade. And spades don't give you very many actions, period. So you got to build up that ability with veterancy or command points or something. So as a core unit, they're kind of difficult to run. More than one unit of them. So there is some errata talk in the works that might change their cost maybe in a couple different places. Might be an innovative way to address the cost because they're a good unit, but they aren't great to make a whole army out of, which is kind of realistic, which is kind of what you want. But that's a whole discussion that's been happening around the Blood and Plunder community, anywhere that Dr. D goes. And other people have thought similar things. They've always felt a little bit weak compared to the filibuster, the French equivalent, with the brace of pistols instead of just the one pistol. But these guys have marksmen. Like you said, they're kind of the premier marksmen. So they can get the shoot down to 5, which is pretty good with ball and shot. They're good at shooting if you can take the actions to do so. Really solid, hard to kill. They have lots of options, but they aren't as min-maxy as the French equivalent of everything of it. So they sometimes don't get the job done when, if you had a little more focused unit, you might.
Right, which I think that kind of plays it it's funny that kind of plays into the whole English faction in general that we've been talking about. they're not min-maxy. They're just kind of solid.
Exactly.
If you want to play interesting, weird stuff that you're going to be really good at this one thing, but then you're going to have to cover for this other thing that you're not as good at. You're going to be reaching for like French or Spanish, or something. With the English, it's like, okay, I'm sort of good at everything. Like I don't really have a a bad spot, but I'm also just not amazing at anything.
Yep, these guys have marksman, but they have a 6 shoot, unlike the Buccaneers. So they aren't the best shooters. They have a 6 fight. Pretty good. They have a pistol, so they can re-roll and a melee, but they don't have brace of pistols. They don't have 5 fight. They don't have hard charges. They don't got brawlers. They have sailors, which is nice, but it's not really good for killing people. They have ball and shot, which can help, but you'll usually miss on your. So yeah, and they got a 6 fight save, which is good. They can stand up in the fight, but they can't deliver the death blow that the filibusters might be able to. So
I've always found them reliably average.
Yes, reliably average. I like it.
They're not bad. They're not great.
Reliably,
but they're one unit of them does work. They kind of do what you want them to do, but they're not they're not going to be the ones that are going to usually like swing the game or give you that fantastic, oh, I've been saving this and here I go and I'm going to play this card comp. They're just not really built for that. So,
yeah.
Reliably average, I think, would have been a great thing to put on the English sticker this year. That would have been the greatest little tagline.
Well, if the English would be what, steadfast consistency.
Sure.
More glorious, a little more positive spin on things. That can be the episode title, Reliably Average.
There you go.
Reliably average. There you go. Make a note of that, Dan.
I'm editing it again now. I thought that was taken from me. I'll put it.
I was joking before. I'm not joking about the reliably average
I'm
thing.
put it right here while we're talking.
Okay.
English, reliably average.
Sea dogs. How do we feel about sea dogs? It's the standard national sailor. The sea dogs are 4 points. They are trained. They have a fight 6/6. They have a shoot 7/7, a resolve of 5. You can kit them out just like any other national sailor. They get just sailors, not expert sailors. Brawlers is their special little thing that they have. And they get to be expert artillery crew instead of just the regular artillery crew. So that kind of plays into the English being more of a cannon-focused nation at sea, because their national sailor obviously goes a little more towards artillery.
Yeah, I mean, I really like them as the resident sea guy here who really predominantly plays at sea. If I want a group of guys that's gonna basically tar pit somebody, I tend to take sea dogs. While they don't hit as hard as Eliden or Marins, they still have that 6 save, and Brawlers is always on. It's not like the Eliden where you need to have a hard charger to go in and hit like a truck. That Brawlers just, it's there, and nothing really takes that away. Climb action doesn't increase it by 1 or anything. It's still there. So I usually use them I think they're more defensive, in my opinion. They're more defensive based until you get into factions that obviously edit their rules. But, just as they are, I think they're a little bit behind Zeliden, because Zeliden also have expert sailors, which is really useful. But I would put them solid second place as far as all the national sailors go. And I also think that, again, they are reliably average. Every time I've had to kill sea dogs, it takes me forever because they're usually saving on 5s on a ship.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, definitely some of the Spanish and French sailors and the Dutch as well are a little more aggressive and more boardy, whereas the sea dogs are a little, like you said, a little more defensive. I think Brawlers is kind of an aggressive. Yeah, it's kind of either way, like you said. It's just kind of a good rule.
Because the Marineros have Ruthless and a fight of 5, which is great, but they also have a 7 fight, so they die easier. So that's kind of, again, you're kind of picking your poison.
No, the Marinero. Do they have a 7 fight? I was thinking they had a 5/6.
or Marineros. They have 5.7.
Yeah, 5.7. Okay,
I have to say, I believe I'm right. I've used
so
them
there you
before.
go.
Yeah, 7. So,
The best thing about the Sea Dogs is they have tough in the English Navy.
They do?
yeah, to say in
Oh, in
yes.
the English Navy.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
So
Yeah.
And then expert sailors. So the combination of expert artillery crew and tough is really remarkable, and you can't find it anywhere else. So if you want to run min-maxed artillery crew, these guys list English are where to do it because
Done
you
it
get
before with Spanish.
well, you can, but it's a little harder because it's harder to
You
get.
gotta
Yeah, it
pay
is.
for that expert
It's
artillery
one
crew.
commander.
You have to
It's
pay for
one
that.
commander,
Right.
and yeah, and then the expert artillery crew I can only get on one unit. So yeah, it's not as good, but I can almost get there. Tough just on your artillery crew is just great in general, whether they're expert or just regular.
You can do some crazy things with tough and reloading on hearts because you can push them to get 3 regular actions plus their free action, so you can reliably get 4 actions. Not reliably, but you can get 4 actions plus a command point every turn. Well, not every turn. Every other turn is kind of what I aim to do.
Yeah.
So you give them a fatigue one turn, and then the next turn, tough can potentially trigger and take that fatigue off. So if you're at range, you can make these guys reload the most of any crew in the game. That's what I appreciate about these guys. But yeah, offensively, they're nothing to write home about.
Except for when they're shooting cannons.
Yeah. In melee, I guess. Yeah.
I will occasionally run them like a Swiss Army knife on land, because if you're not running a cannon list and stripping them down to minimum points just to run the cannons and fill it with bodies, you got options, because maybe you want to open up another support unit, so you can throw in, a Sea Dog unit that's low points, or you give them something that you want them to have. You can brace of pistols, or give them lances even, or something like that, just to kind of fit what you're doing. So I there's some utility, I think, with them, especially in like an expanded list building sense, not necessarily the unit itself, but it does give you other options, and you can kind of, at least there's so many options for them, though, if you want to include, grenades or blunderbusses or something along that line, you can pay the points for them. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, what about the professional soldiers of the English, the redcoats everybody likes to talk about?
I think they're one of the best professional soldiers. They do cost 7 points, which is a lot, but they have a 6 shoot save, which is remarkable for any land unit. And they got a 4 resolve, and they have tough, right? I haven't used them a whole lot, but they're one of the best soldier units in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. That 4 resolve is gross.
Yeah. It's I think that when I was running the Decepticon demos, they maybe actually got fatigue once.
Unwavering, fast reload.
They also have unwavering.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're like unwavering is just like insult to injury when you're playing against them, because it's like if you do manage to get them shaken, I don't know how you did that, but now they're not anymore.
And they hit you again. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I don't see people play them that much though. Is it the 7 points and like the fact that the British Army has to take so many of them is what kind of keeps people away, you think?
7 points is just rough. Just the way the game works, it's hard to make it work. But of the soldiers, this is the group I see played the most, but they just aren't in that many factions, and they aren't core in that many factions. And the factions they are core in, that's the only core unit, which makes it even trickier to actually make a go of it. But that's kind of what armies do. I like them in the in conjunction with the provincials. I think that's pretty
cool. They're a nice combo with provincials.
Eric is a big English player, and he makes good use of these guys. He has a weird list though that's stripped down versions of them. You can reduce their cost by a flat rate, like -4 points to take away bayonets or something. And then if you make your units really small, it gives you really affordable models. So we have like 13 units of 3 or 4 of these guys. It was super weird to play against.
And play platoon actions.
Yeah. Everybody gets a command point off of that. That's weird. It's not great, but it's entertaining. And it can be overwhelming to fight against.
Okay, and there was a little bit of a debate on whether this next unit was an English unit or not. I kind of think they are. They're another unit that came out in Raise the Black that's gotten a lot of buzz lately. It's the Jamaican Privateers. They have a firelock musket, standard melee weapon, sidearm pistol, fight 6/6, shoot 7/7, resolve 5. Can kit them out with. You can take away their firelock muskets and add brace of pistols, which I feel like a lot of people do. You can also a big thing that people do with this unit is downgrade them to inexperienced. It makes them a 3-point inexperienced unit with brace of pistols. Great for boarding, getting a lot of guys on the board. What they don't have a lot of is special rules. All they get is expert sailors. So that's kind of, I guess, their downside.
I'm going to correct myself. They are under the British units in Raise the Black. So they are a British units. They belong here.
But they're very piratey in their flavor, and they show up in a lot of pirate lists because of all the.
But no, they're solid.
Even
if you don't drop them down to the 3 points, 4 points with a sidearm pistol and a musket, like that's good. That's really good. They're I would argue they're one of the better just utility units to have in the game. Just have them, on your boat, and if they don't need to do advanced maneuvers, have them shoot.
Absolutely agree. Jamaican privateers are an option for me. I'm almost always bringing at least one unit of them.
Yeah, they might see a little tweak here and there in an upcoming errata. We'll see. I don't think anything has been decided from my perspective. I mean, from what I have been privy to. But I've always complained about, or not complained, been skeptical of their precise balancing. If you look at them compared to a militia unit usually has 6 resolve and a musket. Trained would be 4 points. These guys have 5 resolve and they're 4 points, and they have a sidearm pistol. So you're getting really good value there, and you can downgrade them currently. Yeah, so they're always a good option. And you can play them in a lot of pirate lists.
I'll say it on here, so if it happens, they can throw tomatoes at me. I would just take away the option to be inexperienced. I think if you keep them where they are at trained and don't allow them to drop, I think they fit that little niche right there, because they're still a good sailor unit. There is definitely some value there with the sidearm pistol, but I think if you remove that option to basically hoard up on them by dropping them to 3 points, I think that makes them, I'll say, quote unquote, balanced. If they do it, I'm not going to give out my address. You can throw tomatoes in my way. Whenever I take them, I always drop them. Whenever I take them, I always drop them down to save on points. Because, like I said, they're either there to shoot or do maneuver stuff. So they're usually going to get a club anyway. And if I need to help them reload, I'll throw a command point at them to help them reload.
Mike has expressed some regret on all of the options for downgrading things, and some of those might disappear. We'll see.
Yep.
Yeah. That I wouldn't mind seeing that, because I think a lot of times that downgrade to inexperience gets kind of auto done in situations like that. Yeah, I don't know. I've not thought about it all that much, but I'm sitting here thinking, like, I don't know if I wouldn't just add a point to them and then just be fine at 5 points.
That's also valid.
Yeah. So like a budget version of the freebooter. We're getting down into
I agree.
Yeah, well, and that's what I was thinking. I was like, I feel like these guys would be better. It would be better to just move these guys up to 5 to make the freebooters a lot more attractive than to move the freebooters down to 5.
Well, what that doesn't do is make England competitive. It just makes England worse. It makes freebooters look better, but it doesn't make freebooters win,
I guess.
Yeah, they're a good unit. They're really good. I like them. If I play,
they aren't fancy, they aren't flashy, but they're just meat and potatoes stats.
These guys are not reliably average. They're reliably above average, we'll say.
There you go.
Joseph, you want to talk about your babies? Didn't you help design these, the Indian fighters?
I did not. They came out in No Peace Beyond the Line. I didn't have anything
I
to
thought
do
they
with
were
it.
on the frontier unit. I apologize.
Nope, but they're good. Already talked about them in the context of
They
Church's
got
Raiders.
some awesome sculpts too. I love the sculpts. I may use them for boss loppers.
Yeah, those big New England style coats they're awesome. But yeah, 5 points, and you get tough, and you get elusive. I forget. Do they
Elusive
have
and
6 shoot
scout.
save, or do they have 7 elusive? Scouts. Yeah, great meat and potatoes unit. That's good on land, and English aren't particularly woodsy as far as, but this is their main option, and the Frontier Militia, which is kind of a 18th century equivalent. I love these guys. If I want to play on land in a woodsy style, these are my go-to. But again, not a lot of. But I guess you can add some. You can add thrown weapons to them, which makes things easier on land.
They kind of remind me of the Verge. I can't pronounce it. I don't speak Dutch well, but the Verge Company in, and like that same 5 point.
Well, that Dutch model unit was kind of modeled after or is the equivalent of this Indian fighter, which is the equivalent of the Cour de Bois. So,
Yeah,
woodsy dude.
A lot of good land special rules like elusive scouts and like tough's just good. I know tough got nerfed a little bit, but it's still good.
Still good. And then get ruthless on them and quick with Benjamin Church, and then you're cooking with gas.
Get ruthless on a English unit and just win.
It's a lot easier to trigger ruthless on an English unit than a Spanish unit, turns out. So if you're going to play at a tournament and had to play English,
If gun to my head, I have to play English. I'd probably bring. I'm thinking. I would probably bring either British privateers or Royal Navy and try to run a boarding list, because that's what I do. If I bring cannons, I'll miss every shot.
Yeah, I think the classic answer is just cannon list with sea dogs with tough, like you said. That's just a solid, very solid list. Cannons always usually do well in tournaments as far as like getting strike points easily. So that helps. Yep. Of course, I'm over here building a musket list for them right now. So if I were to take an English list, it would probably be this musket list I'm currently working on, but we'll see. We'll see if that sees the light of day.
I forgot, Ryan, did you play English for the tournament you won recently?
I did. Yeah, and I played North American English Militia, I believe. So, it was one of those. I tried to have as many bodies as I could, and so everybody was pretty much inexperienced. But I kind of made up for it with command points, and I knew that just by drawing 6 cards, I was going to be having options either to go early or to stack, actions later when I needed them. But kind of worked out. But I'm sure if someone else was a better player, they probably would have rammed it down my throat in a couple of spots where I probably was left a little more vulnerable. But I enjoyed it. It was just something I'd never done before, so I wanted to have fun, and I did have fun at the tournament. So, but yeah, having a bunch of English, the British militia. I guess I took British militia. I'm sorry, I said the wrong thing, but I took the British militia because I could take elusive on the militia units and then keep them alive in cover for just a little bit longer, have them do some stuff. So get a little more utility out of the militia. And then I tried to give my provincials and Indian fighters some stuff to do, and they were the kind of the workhorses of the units there. So distract or delay or block with the militia, and then get what I need to get done with kind of more of my primaries.
We didn't talk about the English militia, but they used to be. Well, some people really.
You have a land faction section that I wrote out.
Militia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Militia unit because they have 5 resolve, which is rare for militia, and they can have bayonets, which is pretty rare, but their 8 save just makes them dead a lot.
Their 5 resolve is good.
Yep.
It's the best resolve for a militia unit. But yeah, the 8 save, the Dutch militia, that's their stat that they get to they have a little bit better there is the save, the shoot save.
Yep. Dutch militia are great. I stubbornly play Buccaneers at sea. And I'll enjoy them on land too. I think that the Rise of the Buccaneers are going to give you a few more options on land and sea for that particular style of force, which would be good because not a lot of people play English Buccaneers competitively. So I'm eager to see a little more activity.
That's the faction that I'm building for right now. So yeah, I may do it. I may do it. I don't know. I don't know if I can go 2 years in a row not playing Spanish at Adepticon, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Well, another thing we haven't talked about is the English have access to is the all the characters from the South Sea Adventure, which currently are kind of undercosted right now, and have been on the table to errata their cost up a little bit for a long time, but they just haven't happened.
You're welcome.
So they have a lot of. It was. Don't flatter yourself too much, Dan. They've been on the table way before you were even playing them. But they're really cheap and they give you command points. They have a couple drawbacks too, but they're really fun.
You can play around that.
You can do a lot of weird
easily.
things with the English Buccaneers. It's good. My wife just took
any
iPad, so I don't have
standout factions for everybody? I know we were just talking about the English Buccaneers, but I don't play a lot of English. See, right? That's why we need Riley here. Why wasn't Riley here? I'm gonna send him an email. Strongly worded email. we have the English overview, and you're not even here for it. Tisk.
We talked about good English land factions already. The British militia, North American English militia are both really super solid. What did we say? Reliably consistent or boring?
Reliably consistent. The mantra of the English. The
British Army is good, but it's just an expensive force. British Raiders is interesting. They have a kind of a negative rule where the natives don't always do what you want. They don't always take command points well, but you can play natives with no poorly equipped, which is kind of nice. And they get war cry within the English faction. So they're an interesting faction, but not quite as good as the French, overpowered French Raiders. But if you want to play French Raiders, just play Church's Raiders and you're golden.
Yeah. The British Raiders are thematic, and I like that.
Yeah.
I like a good thematic faction. Doesn't have to be top tier, just got to be pretty good.
That's kind of why I picked these ones.
Lots of
I thought they were thematic.
I think we covered it pretty well. Any other final comments on English in the game? I think they're a great place to start. There's always content for them. Also, a perk, it's always easy to find history on them because if you're in this English-speaking world, that's what people write about.
That's kind of why I went with I just fell in line with the English Buccaneers with my reenacting because I was like, it's going to be way easier to research stuff if I'm a freebooter, rather than a Miliciano. So
you get a lot of choices on the factions. You get a lot of choices on commanders. More on the expensive side, but there's a lot of options, and so you can really kind of find something that you enjoy, or if you want to play certain units because maybe you don't have other units, you're not really bound by a lot. And Blood Plunder is really good about that anyway. But if you're like, oh man, I don't have this particular set of regular soldiers, well then maybe you've got provincials, or maybe you can just play with freebooter. Like I said, you've got a lot of different builds that you can do, and they're still all, like I said, remarkably average, but you'll be consistent, and you'll get to you can you still play a faction even if you don't have maybe the exact unit that you might want. And of course, everyone's pretty easy going with all that I've ever played with. They're like, oh yeah, these are these guys today. I'm like, yeah, perfect. Glad you're here. So
yeah,
but even
and like I was about to say, you can start out with the white bread, and then you can move on to something that's a little more, interesting for your palate, like the Spanish or the French or something else.
Absolutely. And and of course the cross play because factions have same units. You're going to have. I mean, a Sea Dog looks just like any sailor for pretty much any other faction, depending on how you paint it. And even then, it's still like, hey, these are Marineros today. So it's like fine. So,
Yep.
It's really easy to go sideways from English into pirates too.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Fun fact about me, the English starter box was the first Blood and Plunder purchase I ever made.
Nice. I got the English and the Spanish from the Kickstarter. Skip the French.
I got it cheap on eBay, and I knew, like, as soon as I got into Blood and Plunder, I knew I was going to play Spanish, like no question, because that was just kind of what I was always interested in. But I found that box on eBay pretty cheap, and I was like, I'm gonna have Spanish guys eventually. I'm gonna get guys for them to kill, so we'll start out with that.
Another big advantage nobody talks about, but everybody appreciates without even knowing it. In the English faction, you could pronounce the words.
Right?
You don't have to look like a dummy trying to speak French or Dutch. Not that helps you win games, but it something to consider.
Something to consider. Okay, boy, do we ever have events lined up. So well, we don't, but we have a list of events that other people are running.
So much room for activities.
Yeah. Huracan in Orlando is happening Thursday, August 20th to Sunday, August 23rd. You can cut that out if we are going to be a little have this out after that.
Hopefully
but
not. That's
Dan's usually pretty quick about editing this, so he'll probably have it out by then.
Gen Con is the one we'll probably miss, but
yeah, Gen Con probably will be missed. July 30th through the 2nd. I'm usually at Gen Con. I'm going to miss it this year. I've got a young daughter that is not quite old enough to leave with grandparents. So my wife and I are staying home this year. So we also have the Nova Open September 2nd through the 6th.
I know there's
Fires of Panama.
There's a
Is
lot
that
going
something
there.
that? Yeah. I know Curtis was running some stuff, and possibly Tyler. A lot of people, it looks like, are running games. I've got on here Fires of Panama, Veins, Escape from Panama.
From
Nassau. Yeah. Veins, Escape from Nassau. The Last Gentleman Pirate, which I believe is the Steed scenario, and they're going to have a land tournament. It looks like 18 players are already signed up. Looks like that's going to be a good tournament to go to. And Dan's Frozen Empire factions are legal to play.
Hope one of them wins.
Yeah, it looks like a Nova Open is really ramping up its Blood and Plunder activity. Great to see. I want to go sometime.
Yeah. That's near DC, I believe, right?
Yep, Northern Virginia.
It wouldn't be a terrible drive for me, but man, I just have so much stuff to do. Like trips that I already take during the year. Yeah. So it's hard to get the vacation days to go do that.
We might have Ryan on maybe to talk about Gen Con. He's going to be there and helping out with all the stuff. So maybe a future episode we can hear the report from Gen Con. Going backwards a minute. And then there's a new one that just got announced recently. Drew Saxton, one of the Firelock editors and helpers, looks like he's helping run a big event, Crossroads or something. What's it called?
I think Crossroads is like the overall event, and then he's running a Blood and Plunder tournament at Crossroads, and he's going to try to do it a 5-round all-terrain tournament. Apparently,
sounds intense.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be like land, sea, amphibious, and I guess 2 other things.
I think
I'm
it's
not entirely sure.
looks like 2 land and then 3 that you start at sea, but you have to get on land, at least one of them.
I believe you
But
play
yeah,
the
I
same
looked at the
faction,
schedule.
I believe, through all 5 rounds.
Same faction, same commander, but your force can be different.
Okay. So you want to pick a faction that is kind of got sailors
Force
and
options.
land good options.
British militia
So
would serve
some-
you well.
Sounds like a lot of freebooter.
Yeah, something that's got, because I think it was said that you could change the force options as well. So something that has like a switch that you can pull for sea. That's also a good land faction.
Yeah, we didn't talk about it with British militia, but they have like this pirate hunter version of it, so it's all sea, and then they have the woodsy version of it and the cavalry version of it. That'd be a good one
Yeah.
if you want to be reliably boring. whatever we said.
We've also got Fall In coming up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, November 6th through the 8th. Looks like there's going to be a plunder tournament there. And there will be a Firelock booth there.
Wasn't there just an event at Lancaster? We didn't talk about that, but Historicon had a tournament.
Oh, yeah.
Looked like it's a good time. I'm making plans to go next year. I love that convention. All historicals rather than all weird stuff at like Adepticon. Do we cover them all?
I think we got the last one there. I didn't know anything about it, so I was going to let somebody else jump in on that. The Webway games.
Hey, that's the one that
Oh yeah, that's
running.
Dr. D. He's been running tournaments up in Massachusetts. So that's on that event live on Longshanks. You can check out if you're in the Northeast.
And it's on
He always runs a
September
good
20th.
event.
And again, that's Webway Games in Massachusetts.
Sea tournament.
And
Sea tournament,
once again,
yes. Do we know the point level? Is it going to be 250?
I don't know in that one, but it
Yes,
is worth
250 points.
noting that Crossroads
Okay.
won the sea level of point level is 275, pushing the envelope a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah. That's weird.
It's cool.
Yeah.
And for the Webway Games tournament, the
interesting.
Frozen Empires lists are also legal there. Let me see some navies, please.
Okay. Any last words, Ryan? Got anything you want to plug?
No, get out and play some more Blood and Plunder. Summer Plunder has been great. Appreciate all the work that you guys do at Blood and Pigment. It's been absolutely amazing for the community, and have a lot more people playing Blood and Plunder because of the stuff that you guys do and painting and all that. It's great. So thanks for all the efforts that you guys all put into it. Appreciate you having me here too. I'm always happy to talk about Blood and Plunder.
Didn't you say you also had a YouTube channel?
Well, it was great having you on.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, I was going to ask you for your socials. You have some presence on Instagram.
Oh,
and you said YouTube and stuff.
Oh,
You got-
yeah. Well, I mean, it's for a different game. It's for a different game, so I'm not going to do that.
That's fine. Plug your stuff.
But all right.
it's
Well, I
fine.
am.
People might want to
All
see
right,
you
I
paint.
am B1B Flyer on Instagram. There's plenty of stuff there. I got any and all genres of stuff there. And then if you're a fan of BattleTech, which the Firelock guys are, just so you know,
Yeah.
Camo Specs Online is one of the websites that I'm a part of. I'm an artist there, and we have a YouTube channel with all kinds of tutorials on how to paint a bunch of different stuff. So check it out if you're into BattleTech or if you're thinking about getting into BattleTech. It's a great resource.
I'm following you right now.
Cool. And we got to get together sometime and play some more Blood
Absolutely
and Plunder.
looking forward to it.
I feel like we're close enough that we could like meet in the middle somewhere and consistently get like 1 or 2 games in
I
a
would
year.
like to do that. That would be great, Garrett.
Well, thank you for coming on
Of course.
today.
Yeah,
Short
it was
notice,
great.
and sounds like you have had a busy week and just jumped off an airplane and everything. So I really appreciate
Yeah.
you jumping on.
He does that a lot though.
Okay.
I learned when he came to my tournament last, I learned that he was an actual pilot. So
Wow. We didn't ask you what you did as a day job.
Yeah. Day and night sometimes.
Yeah. Don't just paint all night.
Nope. Oh, I wish I could paint on the airplane. That'd be great. Some of the passengers might have a problem with that.
Just
autopilot.
just let the other guy fly. Yeah, it was such short notice that I didn't even realize that you had invited him on, Joseph, and he messages me about like what to do or like when we were recording, and I was like, I think we're recording this day. Why are you asking? Because I was like, I don't understand.
Well, I put a call out to our patrons, which we appreciate, and Ryan replied and said he was up for a kind of a last minute deal, so appreciate him jumping on. But yeah, it's open to kind of an open call out to our Patreons that love to have guests on, love to hear from different players around the community and get their experience and perspective and unique contributions to the Blood and Plunder world.
Absolutely, yeah, and
Preach about
in
the light
addition
box.
to that, yeah. Yeah, I don't want to keep too long here, but I do want to plug for our next episode. I'm pretty sure we're going to be doing a list surgeon again. So if you have a list that you want to have us pick over and kind of give our hot takes about, and maybe take some of our advice and throw it in the trash or whatever you want to do with it, you can submit a list to me on anywhere you can message me, or you can email it to the Blood and Pigment email.
bloodandpigment@gmail.com.
And for more Blood and Plunder content, you can go to bloodandpigment.com and check out all the material we have over there. We have articles on ships, nations, factions, terrain, painting guides, battle reports, anything you can think of, really. So go check it out.
Longshanks. And you can check out our YouTube channel as well, trying to get some more, trying to revitalize the YouTube channel after some of the Plunders over this year. We have a little more time to work on it, and yeah, check it out there. We've been putting our podcast up there, more rules stuff, hopefully, and some more battle reports and whatnot.
My amateur video came up,
Yeah.
so I want to put more of that stuff out there, as long as I've got somebody that'll help me record and everything. But hopefully we'll get better audio on that. I was not as impressed with the audio, but we'll get better at it.
It's a whole project.
Yeah,
more work than you might think.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Dan. In this,
and as always, keep your dice ready to win at your back, your har.